Have you ever promised something with all sincerity but ended up failing when the decisive moment came? Today we are diving into the life of Peter, one of Jesus' closest disciples. He was impulsive, passionate, and full of good intentions. But he also made huge mistakes, like denying Jesus 3 times before the crucifixion. However, his story doesn't end in failure. It's a powerful testimony of restoration, forgiveness, and how God can use our mistakes to shape us into something greater. Stay with me, because this story will inspire you to face your own failures and discover that it's never too late to start over. Like Peter, you might be living an ordinary life, unaware that something greater is about to happen. Remember, big changes often begin with small steps of faith, like leaving behind the familiar to follow a higher calling. Now imagine this: a man named Simon, better known as Peter, living a simple life. Now imagine this: a man named Simon, better known as Peter, living a simple life as a fisherman on the Sea of Galilee. He was an ordinary man, hard-working, with calloused hands from the daily effort of casting nets into the sea. But then something extraordinary happened. Jesus passed by and said, "From now on, you will be a fisher of men." Imagine the shock and curiosity he felt hearing those words. Peter immediately left everything and followed Jesus, beginning a journey that would change his life forever. Peter left his fishing nets and immediately embraced Jesus' call, even without knowing exactly what lay ahead. Sometimes we need to step out of our comfort zone to embrace a greater purpose, even if it seems uncertain at first. But could Peter have imagined what was coming? Certainly not. He became one of Jesus' closest disciples, witnessing miracles, teachings, and intimate moments with the Master. However, Peter was also impulsive. Remember the day Jesus walked on water? Peter wanted to do the same and started walking, but when he looked at the waves, he began to sink. Jesus saved him, saying, "You have little faith. Why did you doubt?" This moment reveals both Peter's courage and his weaknesses. Like Peter, we can have moments of faith that lead us to take bold steps, but also moments of doubt that cause us to stumble. The key is to remember that God is always ready to hold us when we fall. Pause for a moment and think, how many times have you sincerely promised something only to fail when the decisive moment arrived? Peter did exactly that. On the night Jesus was arrested, Peter swore he would never deny him. But when pressured, he denied Jesus 3 times. Imagine the weight of that betrayal. He wept bitterly upon realizing his mistake. But here's the crucial point: Jesus didn't reject him. After the resurrection, Jesus restored Peter, asking, "Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me?" 3 times Peter responded, "Yes, Lord, you know I love you." And Jesus recommissioned him. When Peter denied Jesus, he felt like he had lost everything. But Jesus forgave and restored him, showing that it's never too late to start over. Like Peter, you can find hope and a new opportunity, even after your biggest mistakes. And then came the most important moment of his life. After Jesus' ascension, Peter led the disciples and preached on the day of Pentecost, resulting in the conversion of thousands of people. He became a central figure in the early church, preaching boldly and performing miracles. But his journey wasn't easy. He faced persecution, imprisonment, and even death threats. Still, he remained steadfast, trusting that God was with him every step of the way. Even when facing challenges and difficulties, Peter stayed faithful, trusting that God was by his side. When we face challenges, we can remember that our strength comes from God's constant presence in our lives. Even after so many falls and victories, Peter continued to be used by God in extraordinary ways. He wrote letters that are now part of the New Testament, encouraging Christians to remain steadfast in their faith. His story teaches us that we don't have to be perfect to be used by God. All it takes is a willing heart to learn, grow, and trust. Peter proved that our imperfections don't prevent us from fulfilling God's purpose. Despite his flaws, he was used to impact thousands of lives. In the same way, you can be used by God, regardless of your limitations. Peter teaches us that failure isn't the end. He proved that we can be restored and used by God, even after great falls. His life reminds us that God doesn't give up on us, no matter how many times we fail. He invites us to start over, to trust again, and to move forward in faith. Peter's story shows us that it's never too late to start over. Like him, we can rebuild our faith and keep moving forward, trusting that God has a plan for us, even after our mistakes. Like Peter, you can choose to start over, no matter what happened in the past. Every new day is an opportunity to trust in God and move forward. Now tell me, what did Peter's story teach you? Is there a mistake or failure you need to leave behind? Share your reflection in the comments, because I want to hear your story. If this message touched your heart, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Remember, like Peter, you can be restored and used by God, no matter what happened in the past. Until the next video.